Visalia Christian Reformed Church, we've been asked by several people, and I know many of you are probably very curious, what are our plans for the future here at church regarding worship and how we're going to worship and where we're going to worship, and do we have a plan and do we have it laid out? And the answer is we do. We have 3 phases for worship that we are planning on here at Visalia Christian Reformed Church. The first phase is one you're very familiar with, I hope. It's our in-home worship through digital online sermons and digital liturgy that AJ provides, as well as online prayer and so forth. And this comes from John 16. It says, "The time is coming, and in fact has come, when you will be scattered each to your own home." And I think we're very much feeling that right now. So this is where we're at, phase 1 right now. The real question is, when do we move to phase 2? And then we do also have a phase 3. And I want to give you 2 quick, short looks at phase 2 and 3 before we talk more in depth about phase 2. So phase 2 is, the text comes from Acts chapter 2, where they broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. This worship that we're planning on is in groups of 25. We want to gather in host homes, preferably outside where we can still maintain social distancing, but maybe in a few occasions, if we have a space big enough, we can meet inside. And the point of this is to gather together for worship, for prayer. We can figure out a good way to still get the sermon to you, even if you're outside. And then maybe even share communion together, the breaking of bread together. And I'll talk a little bit about more of that in a minute. And then phase 3 is our last phase. And phase 3 comes from Mark chapter 6, when Jesus directed them to have the people sit down in groups. The word is symposia, because this is what we can call symposiums of worship. Sit down in groups on the green grass, so they sat down in groups of hundreds and 50s. We foresee a time where the state of California will open up worship enough for us to be able to gather formally in groups of 75 to 100. When that happens, we will have worship here at church, and we're going to have in 6 groups. We'll have worship in the fellowship hall and in the sanctuary at 3 different times, so that's 6 groups. And we'll let you know when that happens, but this is probably looking like phase 3 is months away yet. But I want to talk a little bit more to you about phase 2, because phase 2 might, God willing, only be a couple, maybe 2-3 weeks away. So weeks away. So phase 3 is going to be, phase 2, is going to be gathered at homes, groups of 25, and we want to sit in a circle. We want to build community here. We're hopefully going to have enough elders that we can spread out to each one of these groups, and then we can have communion together. And what we want to do here is have you sign up for this through our website on our community page, where we'll have the listings of all the potential host places, and you sign up for it until it's filled, right? Once we hit 25 to 30 people or so, we got to close it for safety's sake. And then if that's closed, there's another option, and we will be hosting a couple of them here at our church as well, and hopefully we'll have enough. But here's the thing, and here's the catch for all of this. If you do not feel safe worshiping with people at 25, or even when we get to phase 3 of 75 to 100, we are still going to be offering the online worship, the online sermons, the online liturgy. So we want you to be mindful. If you're high risk, if you're anxious about this, it's okay. You can stay home. You can still keep worshiping in the same way as we're doing right now in phase 1. But for those of you who really have this desire and feel like it's safe enough for you to start worshiping in groups, hopefully we're only a couple weeks away from being able to gather in small groups of 25 or so in people's homes. So pay attention. We will let you know when this is going to happen. And when we do, please sign up for these locations, and we can gather together to worship our God. Amen.